Hi friends, it's Father Andrew and I am here with my father, Alan.
Hi.
He might sound like a man of few words, but he is not a man of few words, he's a man of a lot of words.
That's where he gets it from.
Yeah, exactly, which is where I get it from. So anyway, I have been promising for a little while to spend some time with my dad, giving him some time to say a little bit more about how he came to move to Jamaica and live in Jamaica, and meet my mother, and I was born, and all of that. And so, Dad, you started off obviously in the UK.
Yeah.
So just tell us from the beginning, how did you come to go to Jamaica?
Well, a brief summary. When I left Manchester in 1972, after doing a degree there, and during that time I met quite a few Jamaicans down in Moss Side, involved in various projects. So there was that. That's the start of it all in a way. Then I went to teach in Birmingham for 2 years, and I really enjoyed it. It was a sort of a tough area, but I really enjoyed it. And at the end of those, as those 2 years were coming to an end in '74, and the headmaster said he would offer me a promotion if I stayed on and what have you. And I thought, it may be that I've been here for 10 years, and there were some teachers there who, that's my seat in the staff room, and I've all that stuff. So I thought, as much as I like the school, I'd like to do something else. How about travelling? So I decided I would go somewhere, and I sort of wrote to all sorts of embassies around Central America, and then I thought, why not Jamaica? Because I do have some background there, some knowledge, cultural knowledge. So on November the 6th, I left Birmingham in July '74. I went back to Lincolnshire, live with my parents, and basically work and save as much money as I could.
Where did you work?
Well, on farms, different farms, harvesting beans and all sorts, and bulbs and daffodils, anything I could do. And then on November the 5th, 1974, I slept in Heathrow Airport. I remember watching the fireworks through the glass.
Oh, nice.
And being woken up several times by airport police. Have you got a ticket? And I had a return ticket, so that I was going out to try and get a job in Jamaica. And if it failed, if I couldn't get one, I could come back. So I arrived in Kingston on November the 6th, and I'd been given the name by a nice lady at the Jamaican High Commission in Birmingham, the Roseneath Guest House, which was then opposite what was then the American Embassy. I used to watch the people queuing from early morning at the American Embassy.
Wow.
And then I think the day after I got there, or whatever it was, I went down to the Minister of Education. Was it the Palisados down there? I forget exactly where, but went to the Minister of Education. Have you got any jobs? And this lady said, no. Or she said, no. She said, in a truly Jamaican way, no jobs. And that was that.
Right.
Short conversation. So I went back to the hotel. And then I went back again a bit later. Any jobs? And I went out to May Pen to a junior school. And I taught secondary English. A school in May Pen. And I got on really well with the head. Had a good interview. He said, we'd love you to work with us. But it wasn't for me. I didn't want, because there were very large classes, and there weren't the resources there. Shame to say, it was a classic situation. So I didn't take that. But then I went back later to the Ministry of Education, and they said there's a school, Russey School in Lucy, right at the other end of the island, where they need an English teacher. So I packed my bags and went across the island through Mandeville, 2 minibus drives, and arrived in Lucy, and walked up to the school from the town, walked to the school with my cases, and there was nobody around. Apparently they're having a staff meeting, and they came out from the staff meeting, and I looked for the head, Mr. White, and I said, I'm Mr. Mumby, I've come for the job. And he said, well, the lady's changed her mind, she's not leaving now. So there is no job. Shall I go on? This is a brief history.
I want to know how you got the job.
Yeah, the job. So some young teachers said to me, why don't you come and sleep overnight with us? Which I did. I remember that night it was the first time I'd come use a mosquito coil, the green coils to stop being bitten to death. And then the next day I went into the school again, just because I had nothing else to do. And the headmaster said, Mr. Mumby, can you teach new maths, as it was called then? It was all like counting in base.
Is still in Lucy?
Yes. Mannings High School in Lucy. Can you teach new maths? And I said, oh yes. New maths. Oh. And so he said, well, my friend Mr. Nita, who is the principal of Mannings School in Westmoreland, needs a maths teacher. Are you prepared to take it on if he'd like to come and interview you? I said, yes, certainly. So Mr. Nita arrived in the afternoon. I went off for a walk and then came back. He interviewed me and said, right, we'll give you the job. So I was, flanneling a bit.
So this was now Mannings
High School in Savlamar, Westmoreland.
Okay.
So he came for me and he drove me down to the school and took me in and showed me the staff room, etc., and a few bits of admin. And then he said, our vice principal, Miss Bowen, will explain now that you've got a room in the staff flats, and she'll explain that. That Miss Bowen happened to be later Mrs. Mumby, mother of Andrew. So there's lots going on in between. We've jumped a bit, but that's how I met Jerry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So that's how you got the job. So you basically bluffed your way in maths.
Yeah.
And I think you've told me a number of times how you basically had to try and stay just ahead of the students in the maths book, working it all out.
Yes.
But we've now got on to my mum. So go on, tell me. And we've only got a couple of minutes.
Right.
But tell me, how did you meet my mum?
Yeah.
More than that, and how did she become your wife?
Yeah, well, the first thing to say about Jerry was that Miss Bowen was much respected by staff and the pupils. Some of the pupils, so even hardened pupils, no one messed with Miss Bowen. And if you passed by her classrooms, you wouldn't hear a pin drop, and she spoke very quietly, and everybody had a high degree of respect for her. I thought she was very attractive and all those things. She was lovely, and I got to know her apart from the academic side. We had a school magazine; it was being printed, and I helped with that. And then we had a trip with a couple of students to Montego Bay to the printers. So I became in a more relaxed situation. And then I summoned up the courage to ask her if she'd like to go and have dinner at two of the teachers, an American and a Canadian, who had a lovely house up in the hills. Would you like to come to eat? And she said eventually yes, because she was a very private person, but she was very cool as well, and that's how it started. And then on July the 10th, 1976, we got married.
There you go.
In Montego Bay, Freeport. Yeah.
There you go.
That's a potted history of how it went. And then eventually...
When you say in Montego Bay, Freeport, you got married?
Yes, a hotel there.
But also at Mount Carey?
Oh no, that's where her parents lived. Her parents...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've always seen the wedding photo, but I always I assumed in my mind it was in that church.
No, her parents lived in Anchovy, and Mount Carey Church at Montpellier was their church, where Jerry's dad preached, the Baptist church. Yeah. But we got married in Montego Bay at Freeport, where the liners come in and everything, and then went on to the north coast on the first part of our honeymoon, and then. After our trip to America in 1977, Jerry became pregnant, and on July 25th, 1978, the miracle baby was born. One Andrew Dennis Mumby. And of course the next day the newspapers said, miracle baby. Of course that was the day that the first test tube baby was born.
Louise Brown,
with Steptoe the surgeon.
As seen in the Netflix series Joy.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, we've run out of time. But Dad, this has been lovely to chat, and no doubt people will be interested to ask you more questions. But also, I've learned some stuff. Things that I thought were one thing were a different thing, and some things I just didn't know, even particular dates. So there you go. And I know you're still in touch with a lot of the Mannings students.
I am, yeah.
Which is really, really nice. And hopefully there might even be one or two who catch this post. So listen, folks, thanks, Dad, for that. Bless up everybody, and have a wonderful new year, and see you soon one way or another.
And I'll get back to my paper.
Yeah, off you go.